Hey everyone. So, for decades, leadership in the food industry has essentially been defined by one single word: control. We're talking compliance, audits, risk mitigation, the usual suspects. But let's be real, today, those table stakes just aren't enough to survive anymore. In this Rapid Explainer, we're unpacking a massive shift that is happening right now across the global supply chain. We're going to look at exactly why the food industry urgently needs to pivot from reactive food science to proactive cognitive advantage. It's really about transforming your R&D and quality teams from basic support functions into strategic, AI-enabled engines for actual growth. Okay, let's jump right into things by confronting what I like to call the ultimate executive diagnostic question. Are we learning faster than our risks are evolving? Honestly, this question hits the nail on the head because it exposes the incredibly expensive limits of traditional reactive food science. Think about it. In our current world of wildly complex global supply chains, intense regulatory scrutiny, and just razor-thin margin pressure, waiting to make a decision until after a deviation, a recall, or a massive customer escalation, that is simply way too slow and way too costly. Basically, reactive science is expensive science.
Now, this brings us to a super fascinating concept that was actually discussed at the Mensa Foundation's 2025 colloquium. It's called intelligence curation. And the warning here is pretty stark, folks. It tells us that if human experts do not actively encode fundamental science into our systems, AI is just going to rewrite the rules entirely unchecked. It's wild, right? We shouldn't just be asking if we can build AI systems, but how we're building them. The end goal isn't just to drop in some standalone AI solution, it's about having human experts act as intelligence curators, the people who actually decide which questions to ask and which sources to trust in the first place.
So what we're looking at here is a complete paradigm shift. The traditional model, it relies heavily on looking backwards. We're talking retrospective data, episodic compliance checks, and siloed insights that are just scattered all over different functions and facilities. It's a bit of a mess. But the future is cognitive food science. This is where the magic happens. We move to predicting and mitigating risks continuously and in a fully integrated way long before they snowball into multi-million-dollar problems.
And making that shift builds this beautifully unified ecosystem. Because look, it's absolutely not about human versus machine. Not at all. It's about moving away from basic, check-the-box compliance and stepping into true cognitive advantage by seamlessly combining human expertise, collective intelligence, and artificial intelligence. When you put them together, they produce better, safer, and way more efficient outcomes than any single standalone solution ever could. It really becomes this powerful, interconnected web of intelligence.
All right, let's bust a persistent myth in the food industry right now. The idea that quality and R&D are just cost centers. The actual reality? Poor visibility is your real cost center. By integrating food science with advanced analytics, you literally transform these departments from annoying operational taxes into highly measurable competitive advantages. You unlock reduced waste, way faster issue resolution, smarter supplier engagement, and you build much stronger regulatory confidence across the board. It's a total game changer. Now, to make this entire transformation happen, you really need to build on three core capabilities. First up is science at scale. This means your scientific knowledge absolutely must be digitized and searchable. It has to become organizational intelligence, not just something living in one senior scientist's head. Second, analytics as a multiplier. Look, data all by itself doesn't do much, but when you pair it with deep domain expertise, that's when you can spot those weak signals long before a failure actually hits. And third, decision velocity with accountability. When your whole leadership team can see the exact same truth at the exact same time, your decision cycles compress dramatically.
So to guide us into this new era, leaders need a completely new mandate spanning 4 specific domains. Number 1, you need foundational scientific credibility. Number 2, systems thinking. You have to understand how formulation, processing, and the supply chain all interact as one single living system. Number 3 is data fluency, knowing how to ask the right questions of your data. And number 4, which is so crucial, executive translation. That's the ability to turn really complex science into clear, decision-ready narratives. And remember, I can't stress this enough. This isn't about replacing our brilliant scientists with algorithms. It is entirely about amplifying their scientific judgment.
Let's get practical for a second. Here is your exact 5-step executive blueprint for encoding those critical food science guardrails straight into your organizational architecture. Step 1. Translate scientific principles like your HACCP plans and allergen protocols into hard system constraints. Step 2. Embed those constraints right into your algorithms so that pushing for efficiency never ever overrides safety. Step 3. Integrate these rules across all your enterprise systems. Step 4, maintain strict human-in-the-loop oversight, always. And finally, Step 5, convert all that undocumented, tacit knowledge into explicit, documented rules.
At the end of the day, we have to remember that in the food industry, trust is literally the ultimate KPI. Whether it's the trust of your consumers, your customers, or the regulators, AI does not automatically erode that trust. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When your AI operations are strictly governed by the unbending boundaries of physics, chemistry, and biology, your decisions become entirely evidence-based, transparent, and fully auditable. Used correctly, AI actually strengthens trust across the whole supply chain.
I want to leave you with a final, kind of provocative thought to take back to your teams today. Ask yourselves, do your best insights currently live in dynamic, accessible dashboards, or are they trapped inside people's heads? Because if you can't confidently quantify the value of your scientific decisions right now, well, you don't really have an AI problem. You have a governance and science encoding problem. The future of cognitive advantage is already here. The only question is whether you and your organization are ready to lead it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on your own organizational readiness, so please drop a comment below and let's get a conversation going.